What is that?
I want my story to be about a tree that lived a happy life.
Okay. Hmm.
And that would be 45 cents.
What?
And that would be 45 cents. Here.
Never. Your stories are always free because I love you. This is the story about a baby tree. In fact, it was such a baby tree that it was only a tiny seed. A tiny seed that nobody could believe would one day turn into one of the biggest trees ever. And so this tiny seed fell from a different tree, from its mother tree, into the ground and thought, so this is what the ground feels like. I think I would like to grow in here. And as it was waiting for the right conditions, perhaps a rain or something that would feel like the best moment to start growing, the seed felt shaking. It was a big, big bear that had stepped on the tree, on the seed, and the seed got caught up in its feet, and it was like shaking and shaking. It was so scary. And the bear had the seed in its feet between his toes. But at first, he didn't realize what was going on, so he just kept walking and walking and walking. And the seed was getting farther and farther away. And he was so scared and so sad because the seed thought, where am I going? This is all new and scary. I'm not sure if I'm going to end up in a good place to grow or not. And so the bear kept walking and walking for many, many kilometers until sometime later, perhaps after about a week, the seed one day fell off. Poof! And the seed thought, woof, that was a rough time. I spent a whole week moving. I have no idea where I am. And so after a little while, the seed understood which way was up and which way was down, and decided, well, this doesn't sound like such a bad place. The earth feels a little different, perhaps a little more moist, which was good, but also a lot more sun, which is also good. So the seed thought, why not? This looks like a great place. I'm just going to wait until there's a little bit of rain. That way I can drink up a lot of water and start growing right here. Ah. And so the days passed and passed and passed. And one day, humidity started going up. A certain electricity was around in the air, and the seed was excited. The seed felt that it was about to rain, and this was the opportunity she was waiting for. And a few drops fell, and the seed was really happy. And then a few more, and then a few more, and then a little more, and then a lot more, and then a lot more. And the seed was like, whoa, this is going to be a lot of water. It's great. But then there was a lot more and a lot more. And the seed was like, whoa, what's going on? This is way too much water. And then suddenly a raging river. Turns out the bear had left the seed on the dry bed of a river. And because of the rain, the strong rain, the seed started tumbling with the water. And it was like, too much water. No, this is too much. And the seed closed up and started moving and shaking and going farther and farther. And the seed was like, what's going on? Where am I going? And it was floating everywhere and going everywhere. And suddenly, poof, it fell down a waterfall that seemed to go on forever. And then it went into a dam that produced electricity, but it got stuck with some branches. And just when the seed thought it was going to drown because seeds need air, something pulled it out of air. It was a huge machine that was unclogging the water intake. The water intake was being covered with tree branches, and sometimes they need to unplug that. And so this huge machine grabbed all the tree branches along with the seed and dumped it in a truck. And at that point, the seed was like, oh, wow, air again, finally. Let's breathe a little bit. Let's let this water evaporate because it's too much. But now I think I'm ready. This is great. And suddenly, everything started shaking again. The truck was moving, and the seed was going everywhere. And suddenly, she felt like it was moving from kilometers and kilometers away. By the end of the world, the seed ended up like half a world away from when it had started. It was, at least in seed terms, obviously it wasn't half a world away, but for the seed, it was like too much. And this truck dumped its load where all the people dump its garbage. And so the seed started smelling this. And it was like, oof, it smells horrible in here. What is this? Ew, I don't like this thing. But turns out that they were using this load to cover up a patch of garbage that was huge. It was garbage that was like a mountain high. Remember I told you when they take out the garbage, they put it in a pile, and after a long time, they put dirt on top of it and they cover it?
Yeah.
Well, that's what they were doing with this pile of branches where the seed was. So suddenly, this seed was on top of dirt that was like maybe 1 meter thick, which is great for the seed. And under that, there was a lot of dirt. I mean, a lot of trash. And trash decomposes, which creates great food for the trees. Not sometimes not so good, but in this case, it was good trash. And so, after resting a while, the seed decided to wait. It was too hot and too dry, and the seed was a little bit shaken because it had a huge journey from the tree, and it was way far away from its home, from its original home. So it decided to sleep and rest and wait and wait and wait. And so she did. She waited for many, many years, and over those years, worms came and fertilized the earth around it and decomposed the garbage under it and turned all that nasty garbage into good stuff. And bacteria did too. And some rains came in too, and grass started growing, which gave a little bit of shade to the seed and protected it. And after a few years, the seed felt safe, felt that nothing had been moving for a long time, and then it was time to grow. And so it started putting its roots, little by little, a little bit of root in the bottom, and a little stem with a few leaves on the top. And it felt nice, and it felt alive and full of energy. And the seed felt that there was a lot of food in that place. It was the best place that she had been so far. Much better than the first time where the tree left it. Much better than the second time where the bear left it. Way better than drowning in the water. And so the seed decided that this was the best chance ever. Best of all, there were no other trees to compete with it. So there was really not that much shade except for a few short grasses. And so it started growing and growing and growing. And it created a small tree that grew and grew and grew. And the years passed. And the small tree turned into a huge tree. So big and so beautiful. And this tree was giving shade to everything that lay under it. And it was holding the earth under its roots stable so that it wouldn't go eroding. And it was holding all that dirt that was covering the trash under it so that the trash wouldn't be released. And it was doing an amazing job. And one day, a squirrel found the tree, and the squirrel thought, I'm the luckiest squirrel in the world. This is the only tree in kilometers and kilometers. So I think I'm going to make my home here. And that squirrel had lots of baby squirrels in that tree. And it became the new forest. And then the seed grew enough to lay seeds of its own, and asked the squirrel if the squirrel could help the tree distribute its seeds. And the squirrel said, "Of course. If you don't mind me eating some and feeding my family with it, I promise I'll hide a lot of your seeds all across this land, and so you can have lots of tree friends." And so they made a deal, and that's what the squirrel did. And then more trees grew, and the place became a forest of birds and squirrels and all sorts of animals, with happy family squirrels and lots of different trees that attracted insects and birds chirping, and it became a beautiful place. Something that the seed would have never imagined in its early life, that was so confusing and so chaotic. And all of the animals lived happily ever after. The end.